Jernal Trust here. In this video, I'm going to break down how you can build wealth in your 20s, but it's going to be practical, right? I'm going to talk about financial mistakes to avoid in your 20s, the best financial literacy books to read, and practical stock investing and retirement account breakdown, and also real estate breakdowns, okay? So let's get into this. One of them is, many of the mistakes that you want to avoid is spending more than you earn, right? Living beyond your means is a common trap. Often fueled by social pressure or credit access, right? So overspending leads to debt and financial losses. Not tracking your expenses. So if you don't know where your money goes, small purchases can, and subscriptions can drain your finances unnoticed, right? Please take a moment to hit the subscribe button and the like button. Please take a moment to hit the subscribe button and the like button. Tracking expenses is essential for understanding and controlling spending, right? If you ignore a budget, failing to set and basically stick to a budget often results in overspending and little to no savings. So a realistic budget helps you allocate funds for necessities, savings, and discretionary spending. Accumulating, high interest debt. So over reliance on credit cards or personal loans can lead to high interest debt that's hard to pay off. So always pay credit cards in full when possible and avoid unnecessary borrowing. Neglecting to build an emergency fund. So not having a financial cushion makes you vulnerable to unexpected expenses such as car repairs or medical bills. Aim to have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in an emergency fund, right? So skipping retirement savings. So many people delay saving for retirement, but starting early allows you to benefit from compound interest over time. Even small contributions make it a big difference later. Not tracking or building your credit is another one, right? Ignoring your credit score or mismanaging credit can impact future opportunities like building a house, right? Or buying one, or getting good interest rates. So check your credit score regularly and build good credit habits. So do not go into debt over luxury or status items. So financing expensive cars, electronics, or big weddings can lead to long-term financial strain. So prioritize purchases that align with your financial goals over status symbols, right? And also skipping health or renter's insurance to save money can leave you unprotected in emergencies, right? You want to also have, financial planning with partners. So avoiding financial discussions with significant others can lead to misunderstandings, debt, and poor decisions about, shared expenses. Now, books you want to read that will really help you in your, understanding how to build wealth in your 20s is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi, which covers realistic, actionable strategies on spending, saving, investing, and automating finances, specifically aimed at young adults. The next book is The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins, a popular read on investing, especially in index funds, building wealth, and avoiding debt, right? It's praised for its clarity and focus on financial independence. Broke Millennial by Aaron Lowry, which is written in basically a relatable tone. It offers concrete solutions for managing money from scratch and, demystifies everything from budgeting to investing. The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley, which is based on research into the habits of America's wealthy. This book teaches financial responsibility, smart spending, and building wealth over time. Get a Financial Life, which is, basically, personal finance in your 20s and 30s by Beth Kobliner. Which is widely cited as a go-to guide for young adults in banking, credit, insurance, and other essentials. The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, which explores how your mindset and behavior impact your financial decisions and long-term success using clear real-world examples. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, which is a personal finance classic that encourages thinking about money, investing, and entrepreneurship from an unconventional perspective. The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, which is a step-by-step system for eliminating debt and building a strong financial foundation, particularly useful if you want to get aggressive about debt repayment. Your Money Life, Your 20s by Peter Dunn, which is a guide tailored for the core financial challenges and opportunities faced in your 20s with accessible, advice and checklists. How to Money by, Catherine Tuggle and Jean Chatzky, which is a modern, approachable overview of budgeting, investing, debt, and other money basics geared towards beginners. Now, financial mistakes, books to read. Now, let's talk about stock investing, but a practical way, right? Examples. So you can invest consistently over time. That's an approach, right? Wealth is generally built by investing regularly, such as setting aside a fixed percentage of your income every month and staying invested for years, for decades, or decades. Now, an example is investing $500 a month in a broad stock index fund or 30 years, assuming an average annual return of 7% could potentially grow to over 600,000 due to compound growth, right? There's the approach of harness the power of compound growth, which is earnings from investments generated, additional earnings over time. Reinvest dividends and capital gains accelerates this effect. As an example, if you reinvest in all dividends from S&P 500 index funds, your returns over decades can far outpace simple price appreciation. So you can also diversify your portfolio. So spreading investments across different stocks, sectors, and asset classes reduces risk and increases potential for stable returns. Now, an example, instead of holding just tech stocks, invest in a mix of, healthcare, consumer goods, utilities, and international stocks, right? Many investors use S&P 500 index funds for instant diversification. There's the buy and hold for long-term, approach, which is remaining invested, through market ups and downs, allows you to ride out volatility and benefit from market's overall upward trend. And as an example, investors who held on through major downturns like the 2008 financial crisis or the 2020s COVID crash saw portfolios recover and grow as markets rebounded, right? There's the increased contributions as the income grows approach, right? Adjust contributions toward when you get raises, bonuses, or reduced expenses, right? As an example, starting at 5% of your income and gradually boosting to 15% can accelerate your wealth building. Now, a real world example is Thelma Howard and Disney, right? Walt Disney gave his housekeeper Thelma Howard shares of Disney stock as Christmas gifts over 30 years. So by reinvesting dividends and holding long term, her stock grew to millions by the time she retired, despite having a high salary, right? Now there is tax advantage accounts, right? You can use those like investing, in a 401k, Roth IRA, or traditional IRA can reduce taxes, leaving you with more to invest and compound over time. Now, that was stocks, but you can also do retirement accounts, right? Now here's a practical breakdown. You can maximize contributions to employer retirement, right? Plans, whether it's 401k, 403bs, etc., right? You can contribute as much as you can to your workplace plan, aiming for at least the amount needed to get a full employer match if available. So this match is essentially free money that instantly boosts your savings. As an example, if you earn $50,000 and your employee matches 50% of contributions up to 5%, contributing $2,500 nets an immediate $1,250 employer match, totaling $3,750 per year, right? You can harness the power of compound growth. So by investing consistently over decades, even modest contributions can grow significantly due to compounding. As an example, contributing $10,000 per year plus a $4,000 employer match with an 8% annual return could grow to nearly $700,000 in 20 years. Even more with longer time frames. You can open and fund IRAs, right? Those are individual retirement accounts. You can choose between a traditional IRA, right? That's tax deductible contributions, taxed with, at withdrawal, right? Or a Roth IRA, which is after tax contributions, tax-free qualified withdrawals. So the contribution limit for IRAs in 2025 is $7,000, which is $8,000 if age 50 plus, which is subject to adjustment for inflation, right? For high earners ineligible for a direct Roth IRA, consider the backdoor Roth approach, which contributes to a non-deductible traditional IRA, then convert to a Roth IRA. You can diversify investments, so don't just pick one account or asset. Use stocks and bonds, for growth, and stability, right? And, even real estate has become a diversified retirement portfolio, right? So as you near retirement, gradually adjust to a more, conservative allocation to reduce risk. You can consider additional tax advantage accounts, so health savings accounts, HSAs. If you have a high deductible health plan, maximize HSA contributions, for triple tax advantages, right? Deductible contributions, whether it's tax-free growth, tax-free qualified withdrawals for medical expenses. After age 65, you can use HSA money for basically any expense through non-medical, uses, that are taxable. Now, let's get into real estate. This is practical now. There is the property appreciation, right? An example of that is buying a home or investment property in a growing area and selling after it has increased in value. For instance, a couple purchased a property in East Austin for $190,000 and sold it 3 years later for $365,000, netting a $175,000 profit. Holding a property for several years typically leads to substantial value gains due to supply and demand dynamics and long-term market trends. Another approach is the rental properties. or the passive income, right? As an example, purchasing a house or condo and renting it to tenants, rent payments can cover the mortgage, taxes, and the maintenance while the investor builds equity. Any cash flow above expenses is immediate profit, and the property itself can appreciate over time. Many investors use leverage, putting down at as little as 20% to purchase rental properties, thereby amplifying returns when the property appreciates, right? There's house flipping, as an example, buying a distressed property, renovating it, and selling it for a higher price within a short period, often a year, right? Or under. This approach can generate significant profits but requires market knowledge and renovation expertise, right? There is real estate investment groups, right? REIGs, or crowdfunding. And an example of those is pooling money with other investors to collectively own or basically profit from multiple units, such as apartment buildings managed by a third party. Investors share in rental income and property appreciation without hands-on management, right? So real estate crowdfunding platforms allow smaller investors to participate in property ownership with minimal capital. There is real estate investment trusts like REITs. Example is buying shares in companies that own or finance income producing real estate, right? Investors earn returns through dividends and appreciation of the REIT's value. This approach provides exposure to real estate without owning physical property. So that's what I have for you today. Please take a moment right now to hit that subscribe button and the like button. If you appreciate this video and you want more videos like this, please let me know that by hitting that subscribe button and the like button right now. I appreciate your viewership. Stay safe. See you in the next video.